they figured out a new form of transportation, which could utilize Earth's rotation to an advantage in both directions separately. But so why flying against orbit is an issue is because of jet streams, right? So there's more pressure of airflow and turbulence, essentially, that the turbines have to chop more, and so there's more pressure out in front of the turbine, which it creates resistance to flight. And then you have friction. So tires have a constant torque on them. And as the Earth rotates and you drive against its orbit, that you would think that it would spin faster on the tire, but no, but that actually has a constant torque. So a tire is transferring the rotation of the Earth into like the transmission and the drive shaft and everything, which slows you down. The engine has to work harder. So then there are stuff like bullet trains, right? That's basically the same thing. Those have aerodynamic resistance. And then you have mag drive, which is the same thing, same issue as everything else, is that the force that is driving you is still creating a resistance in front of you, because in a mag drive, you're dealing with, it's similar to a magnet falling through a copper tube. It's basically the same thing. They're always having that resistance, and it takes more energy to overcome it. And so what if we took a tube, we still built a tube, say, from New York City to Los Angeles, but we put a jet engine in there. So we put this engine in there, and this engine then stores its own oxidizer, and it stores its own fuel supply, and we create a vacuum tube in there. No air resistance. And like the newest engine that Pratt & Whitney comes out with, so 45,000 pounds of thrust for the 6th generation fighters is what they were talking about. So you just would have no resistance, right? You wouldn't have that issue. A turbine cuts air to compress it, except you're storing it all in the engine, the same perceivable amount of air and fuel supply that the engine would be cutting. So you have no moving parts. Or you could have a ramjet with a pressurized chamber that then would periodically through the tube would pressurize air and stream it and made it moving so fast that it generates, say, its own sonic boom. And that too would be funneled into the device, into your drive mechanism or whatever it is. I just came up with this like 30 minutes ago. I haven't thought through it all yet. But so you would have this chamber pressurizing air, right? And the air is moving so fast, and then you're moving so fast that you can have your ramjet effect, and you can move at hypersonic speed from New York City to Los Angeles. And Earth's rotation doesn't really have an issue, right? And you ain't gonna be loud either. That's another thing. You're not gonna be pissing everybody off like they did with the whatever that jet was. They had a commercial jet that flew supersonic, and everybody hated it. So I can't think of what that's called right now. But then you would say it'd be underground, right? No, it'd take forever to dig a tunnel. But Also, the sonic waves then generated would be pretty cool. Or you could have what if you put a tube in the middle? So you put a tube in the middle and the engine rides around the outside of the tube. And the tube itself has the compressed air that it streams in. So then outside of that is essentially a vacuum. There's a lot of different things you could do, but I mean, oh my gosh, think about it. You could fly 7,000 miles an hour through a tube from New York City to Los Angeles or the other direction, and Earth's rotation would actually be more efficient. Be really revolutionary.